Good afternoon, everybody. I think very less students join. Only 22 students I'm finding here. I'm not understanding whether I should take lecture or not. Okay. By the way, today I will take 1 hour lecture and I will give you 1 hour test, as we have finished 3 chapters and our fourth chapter is also about to finish. Test must be conducted as on today, but only one test conducted by us. So today I will share one more test in the second hour. So first hour I will explain. We will complete the syllabus. Okay. So in our next 2 lecture, our fourth chapter will also get over. So in the last lecture, we have started the subject chapter incineration. Okay, what is meant by incineration? Incineration is a combustion process. It is a closed-ended combustion which involves the combustion of what we can say, we can say it can be raised, the temperature can be raised up to 1200 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius in a closed container. And because there is a it is a closed conduit, excuse me, Okay. So I was talking about the incineration process. In the incineration process, there is a close conduit combustion at the high rate temperature, high degree Celsius temperature. And because it is the burning at high degree Celsius temperature, we can say this treatment is a thermal treatment. For MCQ type of questions, you should remember this. It is a thermal treatment. Okay. When we are burning a solid waste material in an incinerator, it is converting into ash, gas, and heat. These will be the byproducts from the incineration process. Okay. Now, in the incineration process, what we have studied, I think I have shown to you figure also. It is burning trash and releasing dioxide, lead, mercury, heat, etc. Okay, so this is the incinerator. It is a closed conduit burning where we are allowing to enter the fuel as well as the combustion required air for the burning purpose. And here in this chamber, the burning at high rate temperature will be performed in the incinerator, and then this burned material will be converted into ash particles. Is it? So this ash particles will be is nothing but the reduction of volume. Up to 90% of volume can be reduced in the incinerator. So this point also you can remember for the MCQ type of question. So high amount of reduction of volume, in which type of treatment will be possible in the incinerator? Is it? In everywhere else there is a decomposition, but in the decomposition huge amount of reduction will not be there. Definitely the byproduct will be the useful product, but here in the incinerator there will be a burning and conversion into ash particles, and hence the reduction of material will be up to 90%. Okay, but definitely, suppose you can take the carry bags, plastic bags, and you are burning it in an open air. What will happen when you are burning a plastic material? It is a there will be the emission of highly polluted gases into the atmosphere. Why we are calling plastic is very dangerous? Because it is not getting decomposed naturally, artificially, as well as when we are thinking about the destroying the plastic material, it will we have to go for the burning. And if we burn it in an open air, it emits very dangerous air pollutants, and that will cause the air pollution. So for stopping that problems, or for controlling such types of problems, or for sometimes we can talk about the biomedical waste. Such type of waste we are not supposed to transport. So at the site itself, we are supposed to burn it at a high degree Celsius temperature to kill the entire bacteria or the septic organisms present over there. And that's why we can burn them in a closed conduit, and that closed conduit burning is known as the incineration. Are you getting? So this is the process of incineration. So this also we have discussed in detail. So the whatever emitted gases are there from the incinerator will be allowed to emit into the atmosphere as a flue gas out. Is it? So there will be the no harms to the tropospheric layer of the people. Are you getting? So when we are providing a chimney to any kind of industry or any kind of instrument, that means that there is a requirement to uh, emit the air pollutants into the higher level of the atmosphere. What happens if it is emitting into the lower level of the atmosphere? That we have studied in a last year air pollution chapter. Okay, so in that what it was told to you, that there is a need to go for the dispersion of air pollutants. And if the dispersion of air pollutants, plume behavior we have studied in last semester. So if this is a chimney, if this is a chimney, is it? And from this spot, so this will be the industry height. This will be the industry height, means the people are surviving in that region. Okay, so above the industry, you are supposed to provide at least a 50-meter height of the chimney, and that height of chimney will emit the air pollutants. So whether this air pollutant, where these air pollutants are going, that behavioral identification is nothing but the plume behavior of the air. Okay, that is the plume behavior, and behavior of plume is depends upon the atmospheric condition, whether wind is blowing, whether wind is not blowing, what is the temperature condition, what is the pressure, what is the mixing height, what is the humidity, what is the radiation condition, what type of radiation is being generated. All these factors will decide where that pollutants are going to be emitted. But definitely, if there is a proper provision to have the chimney like this, and then here is the industry, as I said, and this will be the residential area at this level, is it? So this will be the earth surface, you can say. So if it is emitting here, it might go here or here or here or here, and some particles may start dropping at the different level up to the long distance, is it? That is the benefit. Otherwise, if you don't provide from this spot, it will start dropping it near to the building, near to the industry, and the people who are surviving around this region will get affected due to these kinds of pollutants. So concentration of these pollutant will be very heavy in this region, and if we provide the chimney, the concentration of pollutant will keep on dispersing throughout the region, and hence there will be not the direct impact upon the society. So that's why we need to provide the chimney, and that kind of arrangement is available in an incinerator. Hence, instead of burning openly and allowing to emit the air pollutants into the atmosphere and damaging the environment, it will be better to go for the incinerator. I think you understood the importance of incinerator. So for the same, I have shown to you the different types of figures to understand the function and phenomena of this incinerator. काढली पण ना ट्रान्सफर करू मला जास्तच पाहिजे अजून पाहिजे अमाऊंट पण मला तर जास्त आहे आणि परत मला नाही माझ्याकडे इंटरेस्ट नाही ऍक्सेस कुठं पण काढा निघते पण तीस काढ 27 Okay, so look at this figure. There are the two processes. First step or first chamber is known as the primary chamber, where burning happens, and second stage is known as the secondary chamber, where the conversion of particles, emitted pollutants from the burning, during the burning process, the emission of pollutants will be there, is it? So this conversion of that particle will be performed in a secondary chamber. Okay, just look at this figure. Are you getting the difference between these two chambers? This is a primary chamber, this is a secondary chamber. Okay, let me show you with another figure. See here, this is a primary chamber, this is a secondary chamber. In a primary chamber, what is happening? In a primary chamber, there is a actual burning process is performing. Is it? What temperature is shown here? 1400 degree. 1400 to 1800 degree Fahrenheit it is shown. Okay. And then the conversion of the emitted particles will be performed in a secondary chamber. Once again, I am explaining this in detail because we are going to solve the problem in the next lecture on this same topic, how to design the incinerator. Okay, so that's why I'm asking to understand it. Got this point? What type of pollutants are emitting? You can see here, look at here. It is explained in detail. Am I right? Okay, look at another type of chamber. So we have discussed different types of incinerators. Is it? So what are these different types of incinerator? Rotary kiln, fluidized bed, moving grate, liquid injection, gas plate. Okay, these are the different types of incinerators in which the burning of waste material is being performed. Amongst all these, the rotary kiln, moving grate, and fluidized bed are the most popular type of the incinerators. Okay, so in a rotary kiln, how it is looking like this? It is also here the rotating arrangement for the solid waste which you want to burn is made, and that's why the name to this type of incinerator is the rotary kiln, and it is also known as the afterburner. This type of also is this type of incinerator is also known as the afterburner. So there are the different burners provided: burner 1, burner 2, burner 3. As per your requirement, we can provide. So burner 1 is provided for the burning of the solid waste material which you want to dispose, and burner 2 and burner 3 are arranged here for the conversion of the particles which are emitted along with the air and flares. Is it? So the ash particles are going to be dropped, but whether it is possible that because of these flames there will be some velocity generated over here in this chamber, and the gas whatever are emitted from that, it is also emitting. So that re-entrainment of the particles settled in this chamber as a ash is possible along with the air, and that's why while transmitting air through the secondary chamber, we are making them to convert into, again, means dropping entire particles. Sometimes we can sprinkle the water, sometimes we can send the fuel for the further burning, or we can send arrange these scrubbers to scrub the gases and liquids which are going to be emitted along with the air. Is it? So this can be performed in a secondary chamber. Okay, then look at this figure. This is the fluidized bed incinerator. Or fluidized bed, the soil will, or the sand particles which are used as a bed over here in the reactor will be keep on boiling. There will be a boiling. That kind of pressure is applied from the bottom side. And because of the boiling, continuously that boiling process performs, it will pass the heat towards the upper direction, and that time there will be a burning will be performed over here, and then the particles which are present here along with the air will be dropped because of the water sprayer. Then the third part is the moving grate. So the grates can be provided and these can be allowed to rotate, keep on rotating. And the particle which we want to burn will be placed upon the grids. Okay, and immediate above that there will be the secondary chamber arrangement for the conversion of particles. Is it? Are you saying seeing here the sprinkling of water is being also done here? So what happens sprinkling of water? Because of sprinkling of water or sprinkling of some of the specific chemicals. Why I will explain. So the first thing, the sprinkling of simple water will drop the particulate matter. What is meant by particulate matter? During the combustion process, whatever the dust particles are emitting into the atmosphere, that is known as the particulate matter. There are two types of particulate matter generally. First one is the PM10 and second one is the PM2.5. What is meant by PM10? The particulate matter which size is greater than 10 micron is the PM10, and PM2.5, what is meant by PM2.5? These are the size of the particles whose size is greater than or equal to 2.5 micron. Are you getting? So such particles will be scrubbed, either scrubbed or either it will be converted into other form with the help of scrubbers or plain liquid. Okay, in the secondary chamber. Meanwhile, what happens? Through the emission chamber, emission pipe that is at the exit, there will be less emission of air pollutants into the atmosphere. Pollution than any other type of pollution, because these are quite difficult to control once it is emitting into the atmosphere. Whereas for the control of solid waste, we can apply some technology, collect that and dispose that, but it is not possible in respect of air pollution. It is also possible with respect to water. A required quantity you can collect, treat and then use. Is it? But whether it is possible with respect to air, a required quantity of air we will collect and then we will treat it and then we will use it. Will it be possible? It will not be possible. So that's why we need to control the emission of air pollutants into the atmosphere. Okay. Then the next one is the, what is moving grate? Moving grate incineration requires the grate be able to move the waste from combustion chamber to allow for effective and complete combustion. A single incineration plant is able to process 35 metric tons of waste per hour of treatment. So we saw the figure also, I think. Is it? So this is about the incineration. Usually incinerator is located in the where there is the hazardous waste management issues are there, where there are the control of air pollution at any cost is required, where there are the non-decomposable, sometimes not non-disposable type of material are there. For that, as well as for the biomedical waste, this kind of technology will be applied. Okay, I think you understood. If not, please you can ask me question upon this, because in the next lecture we will discuss about the design of incinerator. Okay, so just look at this figure and then we'll move forward. Okay, I request once again to join for the next lecture. For some time, we will continue the next part of this chapter, and then I will give you test for, in a last session. Okay. So the lecture is about to over. In the but this session is about to over. I will request you to rejoin. So we will start the pyrolysis. बोलले मी त्यांना